we are talking about the road to management, okay? I'm going to piggyback off of many of the things that Christian said. I thought he did a great job. I have 4 thoughts for you. Let's just see where these thoughts go, and then we're going to open it up to Q&A after. The first thought is the shopping period. Similar to dating, similar to Goldilocks needed to try the porridge. Oh, this one's too hot, this one's too cold, this one's just right. But there needs to be a shopping period. Many of us are still in the shopping period right now. You're not running offices yet, so let's just talk about the shopping period. If you're dating somebody and they're committing too soon, in other words, you're on your second date and he or she wants to discuss the names of the children you're going to have together, that might be too soon, okay? Maybe a little too soon. If you're dating a guy or a girl for 5 years, now I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, I talked to a very nice gentleman last night, he's probably sitting in this room right now, and I'm not picking on you, Ryan. Dating for 5 years, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're still not sure after 5 years, you're taking too long. You want something just right, like Goldilocks. You need the appropriate shopping period. And I say this because it's normal to be unsure of what you want out of this business. Is this a sales business? Is this a management position? Do I really want to be an entrepreneur? What are the good things? What are the bad things? And so the question I have for you is this. What questions do you need answered in order for you to commit? Kind of like the dating period. What questions, like what do you need to know? Again, some of the guys that have said, yeah, I've been dating my girl for 5 years and I'm still not sure. And I'm like, what do you need to know to either cut bait or to put a ring on it? Like what do you need to know? I haven't thought of that. Well, maybe you should think about that. Zach Wagner said this morning. I had to write this down when he said it because he was talking a lot about commitment. He said, if you have a back door, people will smell it on you. So my next 3 thoughts or my next 3 bullets for you, your commitment is required in the next 3 bullets. If you don't have commitment, then all bets are off on the next 3 things I'm going to say. But again, what questions do you need answered in order for you to commit? All right. So my second thought out of 4 is if the career is coaching, and yes, the career is coaching. That's what this career is. It's a coaching position. Then the sport is sales. Get good at your sport. Now, what is good? Well, you don't have to be the highest performer to succeed in this business. You need to be a consistent performer. I have a friend I grew up with the name Jared Bednar, and since I can remember, his goal was to play in the NHL. And Jared never played in the NHL. He wasn't the highest performer. But if you Google Jared Bednar today, you'll see that he's the second longest tenured coach in the NHL. He coaches the Colorado Avalanche. He was never the best player, he was never the highest performer, but I'm telling you, Jared was consistent in the minors. Ask John Wiggins. I'm not shy to say John Wiggins is the most successful person in this space. Ask John Wiggins, hey John, what's your personal best sales day in the field? Does anybody know his personal best? Okay, it's $140. Now, just a show of hands here, how many of you have not quite hit the milestone of $140 yet? Like, Jamie, I'm working my way up the ranks. I hit $120 last week once. Nobody's hands went up. You're all snickering or laughing when I say $140. Like, come on, really? Is he really that bad? Well, I don't know. It depends how you look at bad. If your follow-up question to John is, okay, John, your personal best is 140. How many days did you have below 80? He didn't have many days below 80. So the most successful person in our business was not the greatest salesperson, but he was very consistent. And my best tip for consistency is this. When motivation is lacking, and it will lack because you are human, discipline must take over. There is a new sheriff in town, and his name is discipline. So motivation, I get it, you're human. You take a back seat for a while, you take a little nappy, I'll get back to you in a second. Discipline is the new boss. And then when motivation is back, all right, no problem, I'll let discipline take a back seat. But the best tip for consistency is when motivation is lacking, discipline must take over. My third tip, master recruiting. I'm speaking to a couple hundred leaders here. For leaders, recruiting doesn't mean developing a filter to pick and choose who you want on your team. Save that skill for ownership. You will learn that skill there. My attitude as a leader, if the owner and or recruiter is putting a candidate in front of me, then this person must have passed some type of recruiting test. It is not my place to judge, rather, it is my place to impress. That's a leader's role. Your job is to impress the candidate, not judge. How are you supposed to know who's going to become an owner and who's not? You're not supposed to know. Your actions do the recruiting. How you dress, how you talk, the feeling someone gets being around you, your enthusiasm for what you do, your enthusiasm for life. You have mastered recruiting when you have the confidence to hire anyone. And how will you get there? How will you get to the point that you know you can hire people? When you genuinely feel that the candidate that you're talking to would be lucky to work here. That exposes your confidence in yourself and your trade. Now, that doesn't mean you've got some kind of weird ego about it, like, oh, you're lucky to work here. No, you too are lucky to recruit sharp people. You're lucky if you get Michael Jordan on your team, let it be known. But you also feel that they're lucky if they work here because you know positive changes are going to be coming in their lives. So that's how you know you have mastered recruiting. You feel that they would be lucky to be here, and you know you could hire anybody. It's going to take you some time to get that good, but that's what recruiting looks like for leaders. And finally, learn to develop others. We are in the show business, not the tell business. As a father of 3, I have learned that my children, for the most part, don't learn with their ears. They don't care what dad says. They care what dad does. They learn with their eyes. So in other words, model the behaviors that you're seeking. When I started in the business, the leaders would all have a little powwow together at the end of the day. We'd all meet up face to face at the end of the day. When our new people were all tucked into bed and have a good night, new person, now we can have some adult-like conversations now that there's no new guys, okay? And I had a leader observing my frustration and says, hey, Jaime, I know why your people are performing poorly. It's because you're a poor performer. You can't expect your people to be 8s or 9s if you're a 4. An example of my poor performance was none of my people ever saw my student mentality. They were all tucked into bed. My student mentality came out at the end of the night talking with the other leaders. So they never saw this. I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? So when I was called out on this the next day, I decided, you know what? I'm going to show my guys what a student mentality looks like. I just assumed if somebody wanted to learn something, they're going to ask. But I took that advice to heart that if I want my people to become an 8 or a 9, then I need to model the behavior. there was an opportunity in the morning. I'm like, yeah, where do you put fear of loss in the pitch? That's a great question. Let me go ask Dale real quick what he does. Even though I knew what Dale does, and I did the same thing Dale did, but they saw me walk across the room. They saw me asking questions, and guess what happened after that? The student mentality started going up. And I've learned in the business that if I want my people to dress a little sharper, I don't have to ask them, I just need to show them. I need to dress a little sharper. I want my people to show up earlier, then I show up a little bit earlier. I mean, isn't this what Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, all the greats have done? They would always be in a full sweat when practice would start, and eventually everybody started showing up early. Your people are a mirror, not a window. So if you don't like the things you're seeing with your people, take a good look at yourself. My second sub-thought on the topic of learn to develop others, the biggest challenge I see in developing people is a lack of confidence. Henry Ford, back in the day, observed, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. So a leadership book that I recommend often to new leaders is a book by Ken Blanchard called Whale Done. It's like How to Train Your Dragon, except we're talking about killer whales here. And the question is, how do you get these beasts, right, to jump on command out of the water? And I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert here. They don't spank the whales. They catch them doing something right. Become a master of building confidence in others. So go through your shopping period. What questions do you need answered in order to commit? Get good, get consistent at your sport, master recruiting, and learn to develop others.